is Thursday, September 7th, and welcome to this week's In the Know Trader Show. The topic of the week, it's about the only two ingredients you need for trading success. Before we get to that, let me tell you what we have at In the Know Trader. I have a daily tip sheet. That is a daily piece that comes out every evening on a day that the market is going to trade, the subsequent day. It goes through everything of importance that you need to know: economic releases, earnings reports, what's going on in the market, where are the key levels for the S&P, everything you need to know. Plus, several days a week, I put out a new trading idea across any of the markets that we look at, the four major asset classes: equities, bonds, commodities, foreign exchange. I will put out multiple trade ideas a week. That's the daily tip sheet. Secondly, we have a weekly ETF Tactical Trader Report. Generally comes out Thursday evenings, gives you the broad macro picture of everything going on. So I cover what's going on in markets that affect the stock market. So we do a deep dive into bonds, credit spreads, the dollar, gold, oil, and then a deep dive into the S&P itself. All the key levels you need to know in all those markets so that you can properly position yourselves for the next coming move. In that report, each week, I put out a brand new ETF trading idea for the week, and it's not intended to be a very short-term trade. It's intended to be a swing trade, and sometimes we have them many, many months. I don't think we've ever taken anything for a full year, but it is meant to be, let's put it this way, it's not meant to be the time frame that you get from trades in the daily tip sheet, which are meant to be quick trades, often just a few days in and out, a week or two, etc. Then I have a monthly 7-Eleven report. This comes out on the last trading day of the month. It gives you the proper sectors to be in. And why do I call it 7-Eleven? Because I put you in no more than 7 of the 11 macro spider ETF sectors for each month. What are those sectors? Consumer discretionary, consumer staples, financials, energy, healthcare, industrials, and I said energy, communication services, etc. There are 11 sectors to the S&P. By avoiding the underperforming sectors, which is my intent by leaving 4 of the 11 out, over time you'll outperform. Now, this is ideally what every portfolio manager tries to do who's benchmarked to the S&P, but generally very few can actually play this game and outperform. Here are the actual statistics for the 37-month history that I've been doing this report since August 1st of 2020. So far this year, we're ahead by 61 basis points over the S&P. Last year, we outperformed by just over 600 basis points, 6.01%, and that's on top of whatever return you get for the S&P. And last year, 11 out of 12 months, I outperformed. And the most important here, because this is for long-term investing, in the 37-month history since I started this report, I have outperformed the S&P by an additional 14.79% above the return of what the S&P has given. That's about 40 basis points per month on average of outperformance. It is, frankly, an astounding beat, consistent. Those who get this report, I include all the charts and metrics of the performance over time, going all the way back to day one. The P&L graph is virtually a 45-degree line of outperformance. So this is not ups and downs all over the place. This is steady outperformance over time to virtually match a 45-degree angle. This puts us at the top of anyone on Wall Street who attempts to beat the S&P in a properly benchmarked portfolio that's not levered, that's not inverse, that actually is in the market. And I have a lower standard deviation. So the 7-Eleven report's results have a lower standard deviation than the S&P has, and yet we're crushing its return. So higher returns with less risk. The perfect dream of a portfolio manager is that combination. So if you're not subscribing to the 7-Eleven report, ask yourself why. Why would you, for a minimal cost per month, why would you not invest in aligning to where I tell you to be in the S&P, in these 7 sectors per month, instead of simply owning spiders? You'd be a 14.79% ahead, meaning an additional 14.79% above what the S&P has returned since August 1st, 2020, by being and following a once-a-month 10-minute process to reallocate in the proper proportion for these 7 ETFs. I wouldn't know why you would care enough to be watching this video and not be subscribing to this report. And this proves that over time, the process I have is a winning process. So that's what I'll tell you about this. Subscribe to my In the Know Trader YouTube channel by going to this channel on YouTube, click the subscribe button. Then anytime you open YouTube, the most recent video will be on your homepage. So go to youtube.com/InTheKnowTrader to subscribe. I'm also tweet and just starting to use Instagram. So Twitter and Instagram, go to In the Know Trader and follow me so that anything I put up publicly will also be something that you can easily see. Okay, let's get to the topic of the week, and that is the only 2 ingredients that you truly need for trading success. So I specifically tell you that there are only 2, and more specifically, I tell you what you truly need for trading success. And why do I say that, and why do I dedicate this week's video to this? The answer is, you can read this thick books on how to trade and how to be successful as a trader, right? There are volumes and volumes. There are books. There are videos out there. There is so much stuff from people on all the things you need to do to be a successful trader. And mind you, almost all of the people who put these out are marketers and not successful traders themselves. They've read other people's books. They've tried to play this game, and social media can be a very dangerous element because anybody can post a video, and I see this all the time, and I comment on this frequently on Facebook when I see all these ads for people who tell you that they've got the proper ingredients, that just follow them, just pay, few $100s a month for their trading calls. People who have virtually no pedigree, they have no experience, they have nothing, but social media now allows anybody to come across as if they're some expert because they simply post a video. One of the new rages for social media are people saying, are chat bots. Is it chat bots? Is that what it's called? They're bots. They're trading bots. automatic buy sell signals multiple times a day. This I saw one recently. Here's your trade that made you $11,000 in the S&Ps 3 days ago. Who are these people? No one's. And I simply will tell you that the likelihood that you make money with these people over time is extremely remote. If they truly had a secret trading system, why would they be selling it to you? They'd be using it themselves. They'd be multi-zillionaires. And the last thing they'd be doing is spending time recording videos for Facebook and all these other places telling you about the supremacy of what they're doing. They would not be selling their system. So if you say, well, Rick, you're doing a video, what makes you different? Well, one is my pedigree, the 40 years that I've been on Wall Street in very high level positions, the success I've had, the notoriety, the fact that I'm written about in books, and the consistency. Look at the 7-Eleven report, outperforming the S&P by almost 15% above the returns that the S&P gave you in the last 3 years. That's what shows why I can make videos. And anybody who knows me, and if you've been following me, I've been doing this stuff for free on the web for years now. Do you really think that I would take so much time out of my workday to simply do this if I didn't actually care about giving back to the general public after a successful 40-year career on the street? This is my saying thank you for having had the ability to have had such a good career and to give back to the general public by helping give ideas and tips and what has worked and what hasn't worked over my career. And that's what I think separates what I'm doing now than just some Joe Schmo who puts up a video and says, buy my video, buy my system. All right. So there's a ton of stuff out there. There are volumes and volumes of information and literally books, thick books on what you need to do for trading success. And what I will tell you is it comes down to 2 sentences. So you don't need to buy a 200-page book on trading, because all you really need to know are these 2 statements that I'm about to tell you. Here's number 1. A process that proves over time that it's profitable. No one who's a successful trader doesn't have an approach, a process that proves over time that it works. The shoot from the hip, these videos out there, just do this, just do that, listen to what we say. This is all, back tested. Well, BS, total BS. When somebody tells you we back tested it, do you know that they did? Do you know that if anything they're saying is actually true? You don't. And again, if they had a system that was so good, one of the ones I just recently commented on, and I've seen this now for quite some time, and multiple people have videos up telling you about, quote, the banker's trade. There is no such thing as a banker's trade. I can tell you, I traded for investment banks for years and years and years, and then years and years and years, decades. I know I taught traders how to trade at these major Wall Street firms. There's few people on Wall Street who have taught more professional traders how to better trade than I have. So I know about trading on Wall Street. I know how people trade. And there is no such thing as, quote, the banker's trade. And yet many people are selling you, quote, a system that has proven itself over time. It's BS, folks. There is no such thing as the banker's trade. And the people selling it, other than one person I know who actually worked on Wall Street, is trying to get away with telling you about this thing called a banker's trade. It's all BS. So what is necessary is a process that continuously proves to you that it's profitable. So when I tell you there's only two ingredients, and the first of the two is a process that proves over time that it's profitable, I'm not telling you what that process is. That's something you need to discover yourself. Now, that doesn't mean you can't potentially take somebody's idea and play with it and see if it works. But I can tell you from doing this for over 40 years that you have to have a process, an approach that you'd use time and time again because it has proven to be profitable over time. So if you do something and it works for 2 weeks, that doesn't mean that that is a process that will work over time. If you trade for months and you had, let's say last year you were bearish and you kept shorting rallies and it worked, that's not necessarily a process, because that was a given time in a given, in this case, downward market, and you were playing bearishly. Does the same process, has that worked this year for the bull market that we've seen? Did you do the same process but in reverse for this year? If so, and you made good money last year being short and good money this year being long, then you potentially have a process that over time is proving profitable. The shoot from the hip, today I'm going to buy off of a trend line, tomorrow I'm going to look if this works, and the next day I'm going to sell on a 50-day moving average crossing under a 200-day. That's not a process. That's, oh, hopefully this works this time. One of the things you notice in all the trades I put out is they almost always line up with similar models giving similar signals. Now, it doesn't mean every trade works. For sure, they don't. But the process that I use doesn't change. And for those of you who have followed me, and I have hundreds of clients who have been with me since the beginning of when I started in the No Trader, you know that I have a process that I use for each and every trade, and I stick to it. So that's number two. You need a process that proves over time that it's profitable. And number two is the discipline to stick to the process. Now, what's that mean? It means that you need to overcome your fears. You need to overcome all the emotions, and people write books and books. And there are people who are, quote, trading psychologists, and they go on and on and on and on. And the bottom line is, so instead of reading all that stuff, it comes down to, what is this, 7 words or something like that? The discipline to stick to the process. If you've proven you have a winning process, then you need to stick to that process. Now, it doesn't mean you can't tweak the process, that over time you figure out a way to make it even better, but that's still sticking to your process. You're just improving it. One of the hardest things to do is to stick to the process, because your emotions get in, or you have a drawdown on a trade and it's like it's just killing you and you hate to get out. Maybe it'll bounce back. Maybe you talk. None of that matters. If you've been following me in the No Trader, and again, I started in the No Trader to give the general public the ability to actually get institutional models and research from somebody who has spent their entire career catering to the institutional side of the business, In the No Trader gives you those models, that approach that I have used over time that has proven to make money over time. So bullet point number 2 here is you must have the discipline to stick to the process. Now, in that sentence, do I tell you and teach you how to have the discipline? No. You need to learn yourself. Now, again, you can read up on some stuff, but the bottom line, what I've done here is cut to the chase. I've cut out all the volumes of books, and I'm not saying you can't read some books, but when it comes down to it, there's only 2 things you need for success as a trader: a process that works and the ability to stick with the process. That's it. Everything else is extra noise, and there's some value there and there's not some value. You have to weed through what's out there. But it's going to come down to you individually to create a process that works for you, that you can prove over time, helps make you money in your trading account, and then have the discipline to stick with that process. That's it. That's really it. That's the only 2 ingredients you truly need to be a successful trader. The rest is a lot of noise, and there is some, as I say, some value in the noise, but you have to weed through what is and isn't, and you have to decide if you want to read a book that's 286 pages long to basically come down to the same 2 sentences I'm giving you here. I hope you enjoyed and get value from this week's video. And I'm Rick Pensignor for In the No Trader.